Cool. Alrighty. Who wants to present next? I know we've got a lot more people here now, which is really cool too.
Me and Lucy can probably go next if you want.
Yeah, awesome. Feel free to screen share whenever you're ready.
Make sure I get the right screen. Alrighty, has that come up?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh.
Alrighty, so Lucy and I started out, at first we were going to attempt to make a two-player game. That proved to be quite challenging, especially since Netlify doesn't allow a server. So we had a bit of trouble there. We didn't realize until probably 3-4 days in that wasn't going to work. So then we sort of switched it up and started making just a single player game. Lucy did pretty well all of the design work, so can't take any credit for that. Yeah, Lucy, if you want to talk about that, or
Yeah, I was just going to say that when we kind of started, we got the design kind of done first, just so we had something to kind of go from there. So that's the main page. Kind of wanted to go for a bit simple, and I managed to get Dawley to spit out that little logo for us there after about 100 attempts, and it spelled it correctly, so that was good. If you go into through the other pages.
so we're going to about or something first.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just a bit of a basic kind of information about how it started and us, I guess, and the GitHub repo there. Go home.
So it's just links to the GitHub, and then, all right, it's gonna have to load back. Yeah, originally we decided we were going to try and make a multiplayer game. That's why there's a find game button, which doesn't have anything there, obviously. Lucy also put in a toggle theme button, which was pretty cool. Just sort of inverts
that was actually a lot
colors.
of fun.
And it works really well.
CSS filter was a lot of fun to play with. So this is the laziest dark mode ever. I literally just did a CSS filter, inverted the color over the whole HTML. And I also discovered you can like rotate the color wheel as well. So you can kind of put the filter on there and just change the whole color of the page by kind of just changing that filter, which was really cool. So I lost a couple of hours there. Yeah, that was fun.
So basically, when we click Start Game, it's starting a single-player game. It uses an API to generate a random word from a random category, gives you a timer of 30 seconds to draw, and you've got this canvas. You can draw on that, change your pen width. You can do the toggle theme as well, which will invert everything. Change pen colors. It actually has sounds for all the buttons and that, and changing colors and stuff, which is bit loud, but didn't get a great deal of time to play around with that. So once the game's finished, it'll come up with a timer countdown for the next game to start. It also gives you little random prompts of encouragement. Doesn't matter what you've drawn on there though, so don't really get too crazy with that one. It's got a few little buttons down here, one to clear the canvas and whatnot. Once the new game starts, it'll automatically clear that canvas and it just sort of starts again. So it's just like a big game loop that redoes that. If I go to the code I'll just minimize that down a bit. Oops.
But as I can see, you asked a question. With the toggle theme, it's literally everything is the same. It's just a CSS filter over the top, so it just inverts the color.
So with the layout of ours, we had the different folders. So we had pages, styles, images, functions, context, which was for that dark mode context, components, which is all our different components, which could be anything from the like the timer, the footer, the drawing prompt, the canvas. The canvas was a really big one because we had to use things like forward ref to be able to send some of these little methods or functions to the where is it, to the game page, so that it was able to edit things like whether you're selecting to use the eraser or change the color of the pencil or those sort of things, all those buttons as well. So clear, reset, undo, those sort of things. All of that had to be maintained within this canvas component and then sent on to the game page JSX file. If you go to the game page, you can see those same sort of things. So erase mode, stroke width, stroke color, canvas color. And then we also had the timer component, which had to be implemented. So the timer key and set timer key. We also had countdown timers. So we had about 3 different timers in total. So we had one as soon as the web page or that game page loads, it would have an initial countdown, which would say ready, set, sketch, I believe. And then after that, it would generate the random word and you'd start drawing. You'd have that 30 seconds. Once that 30 seconds was up, you'd then have another 20 seconds before that next game sort of starts. But yeah, it's pretty simple app, but yeah, definitely had a few challenges there, especially trying to get this to work, having all the components and stuff interact with the game page correctly and not double drawing words or things like that. Yeah, had a few arguments with the computer there, but overall, I think it went pretty well. Anything you wanted to add there, Lucy?
No, I think that was good.
Yeah, this is basically our finished product. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, I can't actually see the chat, so Lucy, you probably. Oh, here we go.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like really cool app. Yeah, when you guys first pitched the idea, I was definitely curious about like how you do the multiplayer, and I didn't want to like poison your project with ideas, but there's a ton of things that, yeah, so many different ways to make that work. If you wanted
Yeah,
to do more things with like sockets in future as well. But otherwise, yeah, like still, I love seeing this even as a single player app. It's still really good.
yes.
If you two could do this project again from scratch, what would you do differently?
I'd probably say have a simpler idea. I mean, the single player idea alone was hard enough. A lot of little things that I didn't think would be so challenging, particularly passing different components into the pages and having all the adjustments and that. Just little small challenges, I guess. As far as the multiplayer thing goes, though, we did spend quite a bit of time on that. We did get the sockets and whatnot working locally. Just obviously when we got to Netlify, that doesn't work. I don't know whether that's something can be done with Lambda. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Lambda functions or Lambda functions, serverless functions. I don't know whether that would be able to fix that issue because we're only using the Express.js server to make that initial connection between the 2 web browsers, basically. So the player 1, player 2, and then basically it would create a handshake and then they would be connected to each other. So didn't actually need a server once it was connected, but yeah, definitely had a lot of challenges and probably tried to make it bigger than it needed to be.
I don't really have much to add. I think that we just kind of didn't know enough to know how much work it could like potentially take. So kind of the more we did, it was like, oh no. But no, I agree.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. That's the sort of stuff that we definitely want to like. That's a great thing to take away from a hackathon is like not knowing the scope of things until you start doing it. So I think, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this has turned out really, really great. Just love seeing what you've done here.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. All right, I'll stop sharing that screen.
Cool. Alrighty.